This slaughter pleases me. No act is more sacred than consecrating a site in the blood of one's enemies. The rest of the dam is fully under our control. A few pitiful holdouts remain, but their time is short. The General was the last source of concern. With their commander dead, the NCR will pull out of this region, allowing our conquest to continue westward unopposed for a time. The Legion will swell with the number of slaves we will claim from this place, and the tribute we gather will fund further campaigns. Perhaps in time I will be granted the honor of conquering the land known as California. But for now we rest. Know that your efforts are appreciated and will not go unrewarded. But we can speak of that later. For now, come. We must see to the burning of the dead.
And so the courier who had cheated death in the cemetery outside Goodsprings cheated death once again, and the Mojave Wasteland was forever changed. The legate is crowned as the new Caesar. He entered the Strip as though it was a military target, destroying anyone who resisted him. The Legion brutally occupied all major locations, killing and enslaving a large amount of the population. Under the Legion's banner, civilization, savage as it was, finally came to the Mojave Wasteland. Though the courier himself was just and forthright in his dealings throughout the wasteland, he helped the Legion achieve victory. Caesar honored him with a golden coin, minted in celebration of his contributions and distributed throughout the wasteland.
Though some super mutants in Nightkin continued to journey to the legendary Utopia, they found little trace of its existence. Some eventually found their way to Jacobstown, but many wandered off into the wastes, confused and disheartened.
Still grappling with self-doubt over his usefulness in the face of old age, Raul was never able to find peace with himself. Eventually, he left the Mojave and assumed a new name, as he had done so many times before.
Cautious after the Boomers' display of power at Hoover Dam, Caesar chose to leave the Boomers alone. The Boomers remained isolated, but have been seen flying over the Mojave Desert from time to time.
Buried beneath tons of rubble, the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel was no more. Those few who were outside the Hidden Valley bunker when it was destroyed settled into new lives, or headed west to find a new chapter to join.
Their leaders destroyed by the courier, the fiends scattered throughout the wasteland. Without the organization of Motor Runner, Cook, Violet, and Driver Nephi, they were easy prey.
After the Legion's victory, the new Caesar learned the followers had defamed the original Caesar's noble origins. The followers of the Apocalypse were hunted down and exterminated, and Old Mormon Fort was turned into a pile of rubble.
Travelers continued to stop by Goodsprings Source for water on the Long 15, but rarely would anyone venture into the ruins of Goodsprings itself. Those who did were almost always tourists, come to visit the graveyard where the courier rose from the dead.
The slaughter of the Van Graffs and the Crimson Caravan caused no end of trouble for NCR back west. Already struggling, NCR's supply line suffered further as the two caravans withdrew support until the massacre in the east was resolved. Cass lived to see the mark of the Legion on Hoover Dam. Uncertain of what lay next for the west, she remained silent. As the Legion marched west, she found it difficult to see the dam as anything more than a gravestone for the Mojave and everyone in it.
As reward for their loyal service, Caesar forcibly integrated the Great Khans into the Legion. The sick and elderly were killed, the women sold as wives to ranking officers, and the tribe's identity was annihilated. Though many Great Khans mourned the death of their tribe, many more were ultimately satisfied with their revenge against NCR.
It took more time than anticipated for a cure for the Nightkin schizophrenia to be found, but in the end, it was beneficial to Jacobstown. The presence of the Nightkin leader, Keen, persuaded Nightkin from across the wasteland to make the journey to the town. Jacobstown prospered, becoming known as a fair, if somewhat intimidating, place for a trader to do business.
Lily continued to take her medicine at half doses, and although she remembered her grandchildren, her mind remained muddled and confused. Eventually, she parted ways with the courier and traveled west, seeking the remnants of her past.
After their victory at Hoover Dam, Legion troops rolled through Freeside. The Kings tried to fight back, but most were killed, and the rest fled into the wasteland.
He had survived police service in Colorado, the Great War, combat duty with the Legion, and being the companion of the King. But in the end, Rex finally succumbed to the horrors of the wasteland.
Though Novak was a low-priority target for the Legion, many of Novak's citizens died in its defense. In the weeks that followed, feral ghouls, overflowing from the Repcon test site, ravaged the weakened town.
Most powder gangers at the correctional facility fled into the wasteland rather than face the advancing forces of the Legion. Those brave or foolish to remain were killed or crucified by the merciless legionaries.
After the majority of the Vault 19 powder gangers joined the Great Khans, the weaker members scattered throughout the Mojave Wasteland. Though a few managed to erase their past, most never survived the journey.
Hot-headed to the end, Sheriff Myers chooses to oppose Caesar's takeover of Primm with a standoff. Though the citizens take out a few legionaries, the town quickly falls to Caesar, its citizens utterly wiped out.
Oh man, I really gotta
Merciless in their assault on the
get that
NCR,
droid to
the remnants
live.
struck fear into the hearts of even
Next
the
time I
Centurions at Hoover Dam. Caesar's heirs aggressively pursued the remnants into Arizona, losing hundreds of legionaries in the process, and gaining nothing in return.
And so the Courier's Road came to an end, for now. In the new world of the Mojave Wasteland, fighting continued, blood was spilled, and many lived and died just as they had in the old world. Because war never changes.
Well, there it is. I joined Caesar for the first time ever. I'm never doing it again. It was interesting, and I'm really gonna try next time I play to spread the followers' word throughout the wasteland and see how that goes. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.